Welcome back. Today I'm going to try to solve some chess puzzles on chess.com as part of my daily chess development. If you're new to my channel, I'm not a titled player or chess coach. I'm just a random person who enjoys chess and I'm trying to get better at it. One way to do that is by solving puzzles. Let's just go. Last time I made it to 1809. From a material standpoint, it looks like we're about even. We both have all our minor pieces, both rooks and our queens. We both have all the pawns but one. The next thing that I look for is tactical motifs. I'm not sure what I'm seeing here, at least not sure what I'm seeing here in my favor. It looks like the opponent has my knight pinned and they've double attacked it here. I probably shouldn't be too worried about that since the knight is doubly defended. The next thing that I look for is checks, captures, and attacks, or checks, captures, and threats. One check that I have here is with the bishop. Is that my only check? I think that it is. If I did check there, bishop to b4, I think my opponent's only legal move would be to block with one of those four pieces, either the knight, queen, or bishop. Or I suppose they could also block with this other knight over here on c3. I don't know what the advantage for me would be of that. Whichever piece they chose to block with, I mean, I could take it. Let's say they blocked with one of their knights. If I took it with a check, then they could take back. And I would still have this issue down here of two pieces pointed at my knight. Do I have anything else? I mean, I can put another defender on the knight, which is probably what I would be tempted to do in a game. This is the kind of situation that I find myself in games, and my opponent knows exactly what to do, and I don't. So it's a good thing that I'm practicing with these puzzles. The only check that I see doesn't really work out for me. So what about captures? I can capture the knight now, but it looks like they would take my queen. I do know that sometimes a queen sacrifice leads to checkmate, but I don't think that's the case here. If we're even on material now, and I took their knight, then I would be up 3 points of material, but then I would be down 6 points when they took my queen. Then I could check with this bishop, and they would only have the other knight and the queen left to block with. And let's say that they blocked with that other knight. Then I could take it, right? If they blocked with this other knight from f3 over here to d2, I could take it with the bishop. That would be a check. And then they would have to take with the queen. And I would take the queen with this bishop, with the knight that was up here on e4. And then when they took my knight back, then I would take their bishop. That seems incredibly complicated, and I've lost track of how much material I was up. But just to recap, I would lose a queen at the beginning, and then I would lose a bishop, and then I would lose a knight. So that's 15 points of material. And in the meantime, my opponent would lose a knight, a bishop, the other knight, and a queen. Does that work out? Okay, well, you would think simple arithmetic would not be that difficult, but I'm having trouble keeping track, and I'm pretty sure that if I check first, it doesn't work out the same way, and I can't say exactly why that is. But if I take the knight first, I think it works. So I'm just going to go with my gut feeling. If it's wrong, we'll find out why on the analysis board. Okay, it was not. Well, then the next move has to be the check with the bishop, right? Okay, it was. And then I said taking that, but the question is it important to take with check? I think it is, because if I take with check, then they're forced to take back with the queen, and I get their queen, and then I'm a piece up. And if they save their bishop, I can save my knight. But if they take my knight, then I take their bishop. So I'm going to take the knight with my bishop with check. Okay, they did take, so I'm definitely going to take their queen. And it stopped there because, again, here I think they would try to save their bishop. I'm not sure where. And then I would save my knight. Okay, that says it's rated 2434. It's right there above my thing right there, kind of cut off. And that felt about right, and I'm kind of surprised that I got it. I'm going to check the analysis board on that last move just out of curiosity. Two things. I want to check on the last move. Is it because, okay, they can save their bishop. Their best move is actually to save their bishop by taking this pawn, and then I don't save my knight because I'm now up a piece for a pawn. I just trade here, which forces them to give up their right to castle. Their best move is actually rook to d1. No, it changed its mind. Okay, that's what I thought. They would take that with their rook, and then I would play f6. Is that so I can get my king out this way? Is that what that's about? It doesn't say I would ever move my king in that line. So, okay, king to f7. Wow, it's a long time before I would move my king. And then the second thing that I wanted to check was back here at the beginning after they put the knight there. My second best move is to take this pawn, and that also leaves me slightly ahead. Interesting. Well, my guess with the check problem that I suggested earlier is that, okay, that takes us back to even, and it is because they would block with this knight here. Okay, I thought that they would block with one of these knights back here on d2 because they have so many pieces defending d2, but it says their only good move is to block knight to c3, and then my best move is h6, but we're about even. Okay, so I wouldn't be losing if I made the wrong move, but I'm definitely winning if I make the right move, which was not that far, this far. All right, I understand. I figured it out on my own, so I guess. It's just that the arithmetic was hard, and I don't think the arithmetic is hard because I can't do, 3 plus 6 minus 4, those kind of things. Those are pretty simple. I think it's because, well, for one thing, you don't know what order the opponent's going to play their moves in because only a couple of their moves were forced. But anyway, next puzzle, I spent enough time on that one. All right, here we are not quite even on material. My opponent has an extra minor piece. Okay, and my opponent is closing in on checkmate. They have an approaching checkmate right here. It looks like queen to e2, guarded by their bishop and their knight, both pointed there. The only tactical motif that I see is that I have two long pieces lined up in a battery here down the h file, but they would get away, assuming that's what I would play first. That is my only check in this position, is rook to h8. That's a check. They would only have one legal move. That is to get out here, and I would have to keep checking. Right? We've established that they have a mate in one on the board if it's their turn. So if I don't somehow disrupt this setup down here, or checkmate them, or force them into perpetual check, then I lose immediately. So after they get out, I have to check them again. At that point, I would have two ways to check them. One would be to take this rook with my rook, in which case they could take back with the king or their other rook, or to follow with my queen down here to h5, which is a check. They could block with the pawn, but if they blocked with the pawn, then I think I would have mate with the queen down here on h7. I cannot safely check again with the queen or the rook at that point, but I could safely check again with the knight. They can't come up here to e6 because of my d-pawn. But then they would have two legal moves going down here or over there. If they went down to d8, then I would check here with this rook, forcing them up to d7. And then when they came up to d7, I would bring the queen in here. And my pawn also guards that square over there, as does the rook. So that's what I'm going to try. I'm going to try rook to h8 check, and then I'm going to try queen to h5. Oh, the knight's there. I just now saw the knight. Oh my. I did that whole plan and made the correct first move without noticing that the knight was guarding h5. Well, I don't want to put my queen there then, because then I run out of checks, and they're still threatening checkmate. They don't even need the knight down here for this checkmate. But I have to check again. Okay, I said the only other check was this one. Well, then what do I do when they take back with the rook? Because if they took back with the king, then I would check down there with my queen, and then they would get out, and then I don't know what to do. Okay, if I check with the queen, they take it, and then that's it. But if I check with the rook first, they take with the king. There's two different ways to take, but let's say they take with the king. They don't have to take. They could move out of check, but let's say that they take with the king. Then my only check at that point would be with the queen all the way down here. They would get out of check one of two ways, and I wouldn't want to take the rook. Oh, wait, I have another check here. Oh my goodness, I almost didn't see it. I have this check. Okay, rook to c7 check. I saw it because I thought if I went through that other series of moves when the king went up there, then I would check with that rook. But I could check with that rook now. Does that work? Because they still can't come up here because of the pawn on guarding e6, right? So they would have to go behind this rook down here to e8, and then I would take the rook on f8. They would be forced to take it, and then when I took with my queen, that would be mate. Okay, so I'm going to check rook to capture c7, which I almost didn't see. That works, so then I'm going to check here and bring my queen all the way down. Holy goodness, that was only 1853. Although, no, this one should have been slightly easier, 1853. Yeah, it should have been slightly lower than the other one, because in this one, because of their mate threat, I knew I had either a checkmate or a perpetual stalemating situation, forcing the draw. Let's go on to the next one. I'm 2 in a row, but they're getting pretty difficult. Let's look at the material. We both have 3 minor pieces, 2 rooks and a queen. Okay, so relatively even. It might be about just winning a piece. Right now, I do notice that they're threatening my bishop, but they won't take it because of this, right? What else do I have? Let's see. I did notice this check here with the knight, but that knight just takes. The fork plan would be really nice if this knight... Never mind, maybe, is that it? I was going to say the fork plan would be really nice if that knight wasn't there. Is it a queen sacrifice? I never see those, except on the daily puzzles on chess.com. Usually like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at least one of those every week requires a queen sacrifice to start the puzzle. But in these, I usually don't look for it. Let's think about that. All this does is capture a piece, but it keeps their knight from guarding the important e7 square. Can we assume they'll take? Because if they take, then I think I have the fork with the knight. It's a check. They would have to either come toward my knight or come toward my bishop. Then I would take their queen for free because it's not defended and be aiming at their rook. So if they had gone toward my bishop at that point, they might take my bishop and then I would take their rook for the knight. Would I be ahead at that point? Because I said we were even, right? Okay, so I get a knight. I'm up 3. Then they take. I check here. Let's say they go toward the bishop. I take their queen. Let's see, I went up 3, then I was down 6. So when I take their queen, then I'm up 3 again. They take my bishop, so we're even. Then I go up and exchange over here. I would be up 2 points of material after all. Then that's if they respond exactly as I thought they would. Now, like if the king comes out the other way, then I'm much more confident because they don't have a piece to take after I get their queen. That's why I think they'll go toward the bishop. Oh my. Oh, okay. I'm going to do it because I've used up so much time. Okay. Well, then it has to be the fork. That's the only reason I did that. They did go toward the bishop. It doesn't make sense to save the bishop while I'm missing a queen, so I'm going to take the queen. Oh. Well, this one's only rated 2,000. It definitely feels harder than that 2,400 one earlier, at least to me, because like I said, I wouldn't have thought about the queen sacrifice, and the only reason that I did is because I kept wanting to do the fork, but the knight was there. I'm going to check the analysis board on this one too after the end, because I'm curious. Their best move would be to take... No, not necessarily. Their best move would be to save the rook, RH to E8, and then I would save the... No, then I wouldn't save the bishop, really. Okay, I'm only up 4 points of material here. They come this way. My best move is H4, and then they're going to take my bishop and I'm going to take theirs. Nope, it changed. Bishop to D4 is my best move. And then they're going to take this free pawn. So I'll only be up 3 points of material. See, I would want to save the bishop here. And I don't know if, I guess D4 is the only place, because if you go down here, they get to trade the bishop for it. If I went here, I would probably expect the opponent to push a pawn, but then I guess I could slide back one. It says their best move is to take this free pawn, so they would take that. Knight capture, oh, then I would take their, oh, because my knight's been pointed at the bishop the whole time, but they wouldn't have to mess up their pawns because their knight's down here. Okay, so I take the bishop because I am still a piece ahead, and it says it's actually slightly better to take with the pawn? Really, you wouldn't expect them to keep their pawns side by side rather than in front of each other? That's what it says, but I would expect an opponent to play here with the knight. Oh, but then I get this pawn, okay. So they wouldn't have had doubled pawns even if they had taken with the other way. Like if we back up, even if they had done what it said and taken with the pawn, I would, oh, now I wouldn't take this one. Wait, if I did take that, wouldn't they just go here? Because I definitely wouldn't take it now. Now I would threaten the knight. Okay, so backing up, if I took here and they took with the knight, it says to take here, but can't they do that? Rook to G8, yeah, that's their best move, and now look at this. But I get out of it by playing bishop to F6, which points here. So if they take my knight, which they won't, then I would get their rook. Their best move is to check me, giving up the knight, but I won't take it with the pawn because that would, cause me problems down there. I would just move my king over, and now they're still not going to take either one of these because I'm pointed there. So they're going to play the D rook to E8, which is here, and now I get away with the knight. I don't want to use up all the rest of my time, but I have a feeling I would lose this endgame against a very good opponent, and I don't mean very, very good. I mean like slightly better than me. I don't think it would be that hard for me to lose. Okay, so queen sacrifice. I want to replay this one just to get the idea in my head. The idea in my head is that their queen is undefended. This is the tactical motif I was missing at the beginning, that there is a perfectly valid fork here, if not for this knight, in which I pick up a free queen. So by giving up my queen for the knight, I end up a piece ahead. So that makes sense. I do this to allow the fork, which picks up a piece over here. Okay, I think I understand. Oh, you know what? I forgot to check. If they do take the bishop, that's what, sorry, one more thing. If they do take the bishop, which is their second best move, then I don't take the rook. Oh, I could. Okay, it had trouble, but H4 would be just as good to threaten the bishop, which is not going to move. Their best move is to move this rook over. Their second best move is to take this pawn. If they take the pawn, then I take the rook. Wait, can they not save the bishop? Oh, I guess they can't. Ah, that was I didn't even notice that the whole time. I might have played the pawn thing in the very beginning. I guess it's a good thing I didn't notice it. Ooh, I really don't have time, but I want to do one more because I think I've only done 3 in this video. Okay, it's taken me so long to do each one that I'm already at my half hour. My opponent has 1 more rook than I do, but we both have 2 bishops and a knight, so they're up a full rook. Okay, let's look for checks. I have 2 checks with the knight. I do not have any checks with bishops, and I have a check with the rook. Okay, one thing about the check with the rook is that my knight is guarding the e3 square. So, you know, and my rook would be cutting this off. So they would only have 2 moves at that point. Wait, no, if they go straight back, if they go back to e1, I have this check with the other bishop, forcing them over so then I can move the knight and go get their rook. I'm going to try that. Okay, they did go straight back, so I'm going to use the bishop to h4, and then the knight here, which checks them and protects my rook on e3. Oh, and it stopped, but I think that's the idea, right? Let's see, they don't have... Oh, was that mate? Oh, that was mate. Okay, well, it didn't take me very long, or at least not as long as the others, but yeah, no, I didn't even notice that was checkmate. Oh my, that's embarrassing. I thought it was about picking up that rook. Okay, so they played here, which is a huge problem. I have a forced mate in 3, so I was wrong that if they went here... See, I thought I would check here. Oh, they should have done that. Because if they had moved over, I was very, very absolutely going to take that rook. Oh my. But instead they would have moved over and this is mate. Oh yeah, the puzzle messed up, or at least for me. Maybe for you it wouldn't have mattered. You would have seen mate either way. And I didn't see mate either way. But because it went the way that it went, that's only rated 1839? Oh my. But yeah, because it went the way that it went, right here, they went straight back. And at first I didn't know what to do about that, but I thought, oh, I can force them over so I can do this and get the rook. But if they had gone to d1 first, I would have checked with the knight, and when they moved over to e1, I was going to use my light squared bishop to take the rook. Okay, well, I'm glad my streak's intact. I'm glad I got a few extra points, although because I went and solved it again, it says unrated instead of what my number actually was. Anyway, I'm glad I got it, but I'm trying to figure out what's worse, missing the puzzle because you don't understand it, or getting it right even if you didn't understand it, like I did here. I mean, I understand it now, but I didn't when I solved it. Oh, that's kind of embarrassing, and I'm trying to figure out what's worse. Obviously, it's better to both understand it and get it correct. It's just more confusing this way when you get it right but didn't understand it until afterwards. Okay. Anyway, thank you for spending your time here. I'll see you next time.